Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Classic Comics. Well, last week saw the publishing of Justice League versus Legion of Superheroes number 6. So, why is this important? Because this was the final issue of DC Comics written by Brian Michael Bendis. Yes, our long national nightmare is finally over. Bendis is done with DC Comics, and I guess he figured he'd done enough damage and it was time to move on. Now, Brian Michael Bendis came to Marvel around 2000, and he became one of Marvel's preeminent writers during his run over there. While he didn't really invent it, Bendis was probably more than any other writer responsible for popularizing the decompressed style of storytelling. That is, comics with a lot of scenes of characters talking and fairly little action. He broke out big with his work on Ultimate Spider-Man and eventually replaced Peter Parker with Miles Morales, among other things. He was also one of the first writers to really just take the approach of just ignoring whatever had been previously established for a character and just throwing that out in favor of doing what he wanted to do and how he wanted to portray the character. One of the things he's probably most remembered for at Marvel is rebooting the Avengers after the disassembled storyline and bringing Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, Luke Cage, and Sentry into the Avengers. He also wrote a number of big crossover events at Marvel, including Siege, House of M, Secret Invasion, and Civil War II, which was published in 2016. Now, reaction to Civil War II was largely negative, and that seems to have been the first sign that his time at Marvel was running short. The following year, in November of 2017, it was announced that he would be leaving Marvel and going to DC Comics. DC announced this news with a bunch of ads declaring Bendis is coming, which, of course, reminds one of the line Winter is coming from Game of Thrones, making the announcements seem almost more like a threat than like an advertisement. Bendis took over writing Superman and introduced a new villain named Rogol Zar, who hated Kryptonians and wanted to wipe them all out. Zar was revealed to be responsible for Krypton's destruction, which was a complete retcon of Krypton's past. And he also brought back Jor-El, who somehow survived Krypton's destruction. Jor-El then took Superman's son Jonathan off on a journey through time and space, and when they returned, Jonathan had aged up from around 9 or 10 years old to about 17 years old. Another move that was deeply unpopular with readers. His run on Superman culminated in the Leviathan crossover event, which was a big nothing burger of a story arc that nobody cared about. Now, although there was an initial sales bump, Bendis's retcons and alterations to Superman's mythos were not popular with readers, and in 2021 he left Superman to write Justice League. His work on Justice League wasn't much more popular than his Superman work was, partly because he used Justice League mainly as a vehicle to promote his character Naomi that he had created, a character nobody cared about, but that he insisted on putting in the Justice League and even having whole story arcs revolve around her. Now, finally, mercifully, Bendis has written his last DC comic and is now exclusive with Dark Horse, working on his creator-owned Jinx World line of comics. Bendis was, in many ways, a forerunner of the typical kind of writers you see in comics now, who have little regard for what was previously established for a character, and who loves to deconstruct heroes rather than building them up. When he was first announced as moving to DC, I knew it was going to be the beginning of DC going woke, and sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Skip ahead a few years, and now it seems like half the characters at DC are gay. Superman's gay, Robin's gay, Aquaman's gay, everybody's gay. In Bendis's wake, other writers have come to DC over the last 4 years or so and screwed up DC's characters and continuity so badly and driven DC sales so low that DC is doing yet another reboot next year in an attempt to woo back the readers they've alienated with all this nonsense they've been putting out over the last few years. Bendis' departure from DC couldn't come soon enough, but the damage that he and other creators have done to DC's characters and to the DC brand may never be fully undone. It remains to be seen if this Dawn of the DCU reboot will bring back readers, but I find it hard to believe that all the readers they lost are actually going to come back. They'll probably see a significant boost in sales initially, just as they did with the New 52, but after the initial hype dies down, sales will probably sink down to somewhere between what they were pre-Bendis and what they are now. This means they'll probably continue to rely on creators that work cheap and just aren't very good at storytelling and couldn't make good comics even if they wanted to. Now, do you agree with what I've said here? Are you glad Bendis is leaving DC? Will this reboot bring you back? Let me know in the comments, and please share and like this video, sub to the channel, and hit the bell, and I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching.